If you go to courts of law and you don't have money, you are sure that the person who has money is going to beat you at your case, no matter how good case you have. That is why people say, Omwavu, that's in Musango. Electoral integrity. But in Uganda today, many citizens out there will tell you everywhere we go. Because there is no electoral integrity. People go and vote. You saw what happened in Kayunga, where the regime just took over and declared whatever they wanted. The other problem related to governance is, of course, corruption. The breakdown of constitutional order. In the 1995 Constitution, it provides that the Constitution would be durable. Unfortunately, every time the Constitution has stood in Mr. Museveni's path, he just kicks it down the road, uses the military, usurps Parliament, bribes Parliament, and takes over the functions, and amends the Constitution illegally, and the Parliament, of course, and the judiciary have been weakened very, very strongly. And there's a deliberate attack on the civil society. You all recall that a few years ago, over 5,000 NGOs which were dealing with governance issues were closed down by the Museveni regime. I can go on and on and on talking about the problems, but before telling you what NUP is going to do, I wanted us to get to know the problem. Now, what is NUP promising? Number one, to restore term limits in our constitution. NUP will not only restore term limits, but it will entrench them. And any president who will attempt to remove term limits will be charged with treason. It will be a treasonable offense to try to remove the mandatory term limits from the Constitution of Uganda under the National Unity Platform. Number two, in accordance with the Supreme Court decision, NUP is going to remove that UPDF amendment which took civilians back to military courts. Civilians will not be tried in military courts whatsoever. Number three, like the president said on the trail, the first action he will take once elected president of Uganda is to free all political prisoners. Now, you people who are watching us are the reason why those prisoners will be in prison after the election day. Because if you vote for NUP, all political prisoners, beginning with Dr. Chiza Besigye, Machete, Eddie Mutwe, Achideo, Gaddafi, and the Karamajong, who have been taken to those prisons and are not being tried for no crime whatsoever, will be freed immediately. Meaning that a vote for NUP is a vote to free all political prisoners. The media who are here today under NUP, no security forces, no police officer will interfere with the work of journalists in the new Uganda. Journalists will be free to do their role without fearing what will happen when they go back home. Under NUP, the president will not appoint the Electoral Commission. The powers to appoint the Electoral Commission will be taken out from the president. First of all, we are going to bring about separation of powers. Parliament will be independent, the judiciary will be independent. And therefore there will be organs. There will be a committee, a separate committee dealing with this, and the final approval coming from Parliament. So, the powers to appoint the Electoral Commission, because we all know that that is one of the biggest problems we have today, where one of the candidates is the one who is appointing the Electoral Commission. That will not only go to the Electoral Commission, but also the appointment of judicial officers, including the Chief Justice and the Deputy Chief Justice and all other judicial officers. That power will move out from the President. As you all know right now in Uganda, all judges from the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, Constitutional Court, and the High Court, all of them have been appointed by one man called General Museveni. That is why many of them feel emboldened to him. That is why many of them feel indebted to him to do what is against the Constitution and what is against the judicial oath. But we believe that if the president is not the one appointing judicial officers, then judicial officers are going to do their function independently and serve the citizens of Uganda. In the new Uganda, there will be no internet shutdowns. Facebook will be restored. You will not need to be on VPN to access Facebook. UCC will no longer have powers to switch on the internet when they feel like. That one will not happen in the new Uganda. The civil society, NGOs and others will be allowed to function. We are going to have merit-based appointments. In the new Uganda, it will not depend on where you come from, what is the size of your nose, how old you are, where you come from, to get a job. In the new Uganda, you will get a job based on merit. You will get a job across the board. So that is how we plan to restore constitutionalism and the rule of law. We are going to remove all oppressive laws from the law books that we have, and very, very finally, we are going to have lifestyle audits as part of our fight against corruption. If you are serving the government, you must tell us where the money you're using is coming from, because we want to make sure that the money of the citizens is used to fight for the rights of the people and not for personal aggrandizement.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much once again, Mr. SG. I think that's a very clear plan about how we are going to undo the shrinking space that we enjoy as a country. I just want to let you know that it is possible to access this manifesto on the party official social media platforms, on the party website. Please look for it and be able to read some of the things that may not be captured in these short presentations. Having said that, allow me to welcome the leader of opposition, our party spokesperson, to present the second priority area, which is on ending corruption and wasteful expenditure. Thank you.
Thank you. This reminds me of our school debating days, where you're given 5 minutes to hammer the point. I'll attempt to do that. Our manifesto priority area number 2 is ending corruption and wasteful government expenditure. One of the biggest quandaries we have in our country. Let me paint a picture for you quickly. Our national debt currently is 116 trillion shillings. That's how much you and I owe. That means every Ugandan, including the baby that was born this morning, owes 2.5 million shillings. Every single Ugandan, including those who have never seen that kind of money. That's how bad it is. Got and disbursed loans, money that is borrowed, and it sits on accounts unutilized for a very long period, and yet we have got to pay interest on that. That has got to end. We want to plan for our country efficaciously, and it's possible for us to be able to do that. As you know, some of the borrowed money is stolen. We have a debt rollover which we accumulate annually. That's money that we borrow and we are unable to pay. Domestic arrears. There's something called domestic arrears when government, ordinary people do business with government and government doesn't pay. That figure is 14 trillion shillings. People who supply food to government, ministries, departments, and so on, who do construction work, ordinary Ugandan people, 14 trillion shillings. These people borrow money from the bank so that they can do this government job, and government doesn't pay. So businesses are crumbling, local businesses. Meanwhile, we have foreign investors who come here. They are guaranteed land, they're given free land, tax holidays, they're guaranteed money. Pinetti, I don't know, whoever, Rocco, was given 200 plus billion shillings. Achak Sugar Factory, 600 billion shillings. They by a farmer. These guys who promised to put together COVID vaccine, 723 billion shillings. That nonsense is going to stop under our leadership. So that we focus on the ordinary Ugandan. There's no reason why our roads cannot be built by these young engineers who graduate. It's something that we should be able to do, but you bring foreigners here, they consume all the money, including the freebies that we give them. Look, we have got a lot of poor planning that happens. something that we want to eliminate. Every year we have several schedules of supplementary budgets, up to about 5 trillion shillings. Now supplementary is supposed to be a bigwabitala 5 trillion shillings. Now supplementary is supposed to be a bigwabitala ziri. Is supposed to be a bigwabitala ziri, which is, by the way, over 2 billion shillings per day. Their annual budget is exhausted in the first quarter, in 3 months. That's a reality, always. In the first 3 months, their entire 12 months budget is exhausted. Then they come back to Parliament for supplementary budgets. That nonsense has got to stop. And we intend to stop it. We have extensively talked about corruption. We know that on an annual basis, we lose 10 trillion shillings per year to theft. Those are hospitals, those are schools, those are roads that are stolen on an annual basis. Our government intends to make stolen on an annual basis. Our government intends to make it Our government intends to make it
This money we are throwing at these foreign investors, we want to put it in the local people's businesses. But we begin that by lessening the tax burden on our ordinary folks. That's something that we want to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our party spokesperson. Now, this country seems to have a lot of divisions. We have governments which pity us against each other, people from regions versus the other regions. But we are one people, we are Uganda, and that's why in our third priority point, we talk about national unity. We have a deliberate plan to make sure all of us live in this country united. I will invite Mr. Jogo Fred and Mr. Court George to talk about national unity, which is part and parcel of our party, but also part of our manifesto. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, the President and everybody gathered here today. My name is George William Okoit. I am one of those presenting priority number 3 that states
commenting, liking, following, mumpe ku byabo mu following.
We come from a country that has a history of war. if you're very much aware, every part of this country, including Central, had at least 1 or 3 rebel groups. While all these rebel groups existed, they did not fight an individual. They were all fighting for leadership for everybody in this country. We have consumed fabricated history and distorted lies in a way that they tell us it is NRA that brought peace to the country. It is a lie. There were more than NRA groups that were fighting for peace. They simply lied the other fighting parties to come together and drop their guns, gave their leaders offices like General Ali and others. Even us in Teso, we have them. They gave them positions so that they can tell their followers to stop. After they stopped, they were never compensated, they were never empowered, they were ravished in poverty. And that was done so that they can consolidate power in one person whom we all know. And they told us, they gave us peace. They simply silenced guns. Other regions, I want to give an example of Teso. Teso, with the war that we went through, we lost our backbone economy, which was the cattle economy. We expected that when a government that is concerned of its own people takes over, the first thing they were supposed to do is to make sure that we, the people of Teso, are sat down and given an opportunity to forgive one another, reflect on their future, and concert their effort in developing the area while government is supporting them. As the National Unity Platform, this is our commitment and promise. We cannot arrive at a consolidated country peacefully without truth-telling. So as a government, we commit to establish a truth, reconciliation, and a justice desk. And here we are demanding that as a country, can we come together? If you know you are responsible for having committed an atrocity, come forth and tell us what happened, not the lies. Ugandans value forgiveness. Ugandans value unity. We assume that somebody cannot forgive you unless you start by telling the truth. Yep. So we are saying as a government, first and foremost, we want to put this in place so that we track all the sources and the causes of why we went into war and therefore forge a way forward. Number 2, as a government, we are saying, can we put in place at least a rehabilitation program? One beginning with psychotherapy rehabilitation. Because we cannot be able to think straight when all of us are suffering from post-trauma disorder syndrome. The syndrome is caused by direct face of traumatic events like war. That is the reason as to why they will never arrest an NUP member peacefully. They want to beat them up, bring the tortured one so that you can see, so that psychologically you suffer PTSD altogether. They want to make sure, because you know, PST is transferable through your gene. For us in Teso, people fear to face government because our parents transfer the gene of fear and trauma to us genetically. So we are saying as a government, we are putting in place a program to see how best we can de-escalate trauma in the mind of our people. I thank you. I give you a chance.
Wow, what a nice speech.
Mr. Koi, we really come from war-torn areas because the energy you put on the mic, you just know these are people from war-torn areas. Because you have been crying for long, now you have the energy. I hope I'm not going to be also another one. Dear President and comrades present, my name is Kavule, aspiring for MP for Kidum Municipality.
Okay.
When I was contacted to come and present on how reparations on war-torn areas have been done in the new government, I asked myself, how am I going to dress? Should I dress like a person coming from a war-ravaged area? Or should I dress like a person of a new Uganda? And I decided to dress like a person of a new Uganda. Because in the new Uganda, you don't need to look like your problem. In the new Uganda, no one should look at you and say, look at that bakoko. I learned this vocabulary because of teaching in Kampala for 6 years. Comrades, when I was coming, our bus stopped on the way and a group of people putting on round hats and holding sticks entered the bus. If you were supposed to be there and listen to the whispers of people in the bus saying, they are there, they are passing. Yes, those are the Balalos who came to steal our land. Those are the ones. I looked at myself. Really? In a new Uganda? We still look at somebody's dressing and we believe we can judge them because of the way we look? This is going to change in a new Uganda because of the promises that I'm going to enumerate now. 1, we are going to end sectarianism and tribalism completely in Uganda. We are going to make sure that you are judged by the level of your brain, your competence. This issue of technical no, who should stop, but we should go back to technical no, how?
Abambuza we tuli ku office za NUP e Kavule.
But these days it has changed. You need to know a certain language. No wonder a certain general called MK said he's going to teach our comrades a certain language that I don't even want to mention, because he is just weaponizing innocent people who have nothing to do with their government. That is a family rule. To conclude, I want to say we are going to have equal pay for equal work. Teachers are striking. I want to tell you, in Central here, you are lucky. From Monday to Friday, you get children still going to school. Why? Because their parents can pay school fees. From my village, children have not seen teachers for close to 25 days now. And teachers, the leaders of these teachers are moving around saying we are talking with government. Talking with government? Up to when? Elections are coming. Why don't they use this time for election to pay them if possible? So I'm sending fellow teachers in Uganda. If there has never been a time you want to vote Museveni out, this is the time, because you have not been paid. Let me talk about national unity. We are going to organize national unity festivals and social cohesion functions, where if we are going to dance at the headquarters here, we are going to see Imbalo, we are going to see La Raka Raka, we are going to see Baksimba, we are going to see Otole, we are going to see Ajosi from Teso, we are going to bring the Karimojons to jump here, we are going to have all kinds of dance, so because it is called national. Thank you so much. To conclude, we are going to empower the existing cultural traditional institution. Comrades, you realize what happened to the king of Renzururu, King Wesley Mumbere, who was punished by the government for close to 6 years. He never stepped on his soil because he was telling the truth. In the new Uganda, traditional institutions are going to have their autonomy. Traditional institutions are going to be empowered, and this will work throughout the country. They are not going to be used simply to support the government in power, but to tell the truth to power. Thank you so much, comrades. Afogatek Luakme Choli Lango Karamojong K West Nile. Machal National Unity Platform NUP. Watika wajuni gamente manyen papati enini. Obenero ni apoga poga matie Uganda makanga manyang kole kinani umebo. Ka choli kinani chol. Ka Karamojong kinani komechol beberu pe Uganda. Igamente manyen pa National Unity Platform. Wabenero ni lufonye kichulugi mabe. Wako fonyo tino. In Baganda we say abana basome, right? Children are going to go to school. Thank you so much. I continue. Go on. Thank you so much. Hey, my transport has started coming to go back to Kidgum.
Thank you so much. When you go back, tell them we love them so much too. That said, before we have the next priority area discussed, our alumni from the School of Leadership are preparing a skit for us. So after the next presentation, let's prepare our minds to welcome them to present their skit. Having said that, I think the discussion around teachers not teaching and the poor quality education takes us to our next priority area, which is access to quality public services. And the emphasis there is quality. So I will welcome Dr. Judith Nalukwago and our very own Dr. Nambasa doctors to come and present on quality public services. Thank you.
People power. Our power. People power. NUP. Everywhere. And everywhere. NUP. Even here. NUP. In the new Uganda. Mr. President, the Secretary General, the Leader of Opposition, all leaders present, and the general public of Uganda, good afternoon to you all. My name is Dr. Shabib Nambasa, and I'll be presenting with Dr. Judith Nalukwago on priority number 4. And for priority number 4, we are saying that as the National Unity Platform, one of the things that we are going to put emphasis on is access to quality public services. When we talk about public services, we are talking health, we are talking education, we are talking clean water, we are talking transport, we are talking infrastructure. When we look at our health system at the moment, you'll find that out of all the districts in Uganda, about 82 districts lack a general public hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, we are saying that out of 2,100 plus sub-counties in this country, over 1,696 lack a health center for. If we have all those districts that do not have health centers, where are our people going to go when they fall sick? Recently we saw Chris Baremu fall sick in his own constituency, but there wasn't a single hospital that could attend to him. He had to send for a helicopter to come and airlift him from his constituency, from the people that he represents, to be treated in a different districts where they also have their own MP. But I ask you Ugandans, how many of you have a contact that you can call for you to get a helicopter to airlift you from wherever you are? I think out of all of us here, it could only be Mr. President, but I'm not sure. I think he says he also can't get a helicopter. So how many people are dying on a daily because they don't have access to good health care? When we speak about good health care, people believe that we are only speaking because we are privileged. I speak from the profession because I am one of them. I have served in those hospitals. I have been to Chirudu Dialysis Center, but I tell you that people fight for beds for them to be able to get dialysis. But I saw a photo of a certain country where
let me look for a good position.
our lives
Kanfune position enunje. Kanfune ka position akalungi wano sibitegeera. Kansoke fune ka gunda akalungi ensobola okuyimirira. Kamera ezina amazina ogirabye kansoke fune ekifo ekirungi wano.
Ladies and gentlemen, you see in Uganda over 1 million children that enroll in primary 1, only about 300,000 make it to primary 7. That is only about how many? 30%? Do you see what I'm saying? Where are these children going that are dropping out? Who is thinking about those very children? They are out there getting pregnant if they're ladies, or if it is a gentleman, he's now going into stealing. And these children are giving birth not to children, but to more poverty, because in the first reason they dropped out, it was because of poverty. Ladies and gentlemen, we find that there are districts, for example, in Napak, where the gentleman with the big heart claims to get 100%, but there is no single secondary school. Are you hearing me? Am I communicating, ladies and gentlemen? As we go ahead, we find that in the education sector, a single pupil is only allocated 20,000 for school fees in an entire year, while we see the Speaker's office getting billions for donations. We see so many spending a lot of money in different things. They're giving out, they're dashing out money, but your child is allocated only 20,000 for them to be able to study for one entire year. I don't know what for. Ladies and gentlemen, when we speak about clean water, I've been to districts where people share water sources with cows. We find that cows are even getting some clean water, but there are districts where they do not get clean water. Out of the 48 million Ugandans here, we find that about 38 million lack access to clean water and to toilets. Where are they putting their stool? Where are they defecating, ladies and gentlemen? There are those little errors that we find where we pass. You find there is a heat because they don't have access to clean water, and it trickles down to the health system. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Unity Platform promises to offer access to good roads. We find that out of the 1,500 plus roads that we have, I think it's 153,000 kilometers worth of road network, only about 6,338 kilometers are paved. That is only about 3.9% of the total road network in Uganda. But even out of that 3.9%, 20% is in good conditions. We have seen the roads that you use. We did the pothole exhibition. Ladies and gentlemen, you saw that we have lakes in the middle of roads. When we speak about our railway system, we don't even have a gauged railway system. That out of the entire railway system, only about 321 kilometers are operational. And from where we saw videos of our own train moving backwards, and everyone was saying, where is it going? But we know that in developed countries, trains are the quickest and easiest means of transport that they actually use. Trains can improve our road transport. Trains can be used to carry out trade from region to region, but that is not what we see in the current Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, when we study about the history of Africa, Uganda, when we constructed Entebbe International Airport, it was the largest international airport in East Africa. And that was before Mr. Museveni took over power. He takes over power 40 years down the road, and Entebbe International Airport is the only airport that we have. Yet it was the biggest in East Africa. We now admire Kenya, we admire Tanzania, but I mean, what are they doing? I have forgotten to tell you that when Kavule took over power, he paved over 5,000 roads in 5 years. 5,000 kilometers of roads in 5 years. And Mr. Museveni has done that in 40 years. What more evidence do you need for you to say that it is now for us to have a new and better Uganda? Thank you.
Dr. Nalukwago Judith, nzize kubabuulira mu Luganda so that bajjajja bange ab'e Masaka wa Kigundu bategeere n'ab'e Mawokota ab'emikono muliyo musiibye mutana mulina okutegeera. Bannange Dr. Shamema annyonnyodde mu Luzungu naye katuddeko mu Luganda. Ngenda kwanguyizaako kubanga obudde butukutte. Public service mu Uganda population yaffe eri miliyoni 48 nga tugenze maaso tuprojectinze mu mwaka 2026 population ya Uganda egenda efuuke miliyoni 16. N'ekwezo miliyoni 16 abasinga kwabo ebitundu 7 ku 10 bagenda kubeera bakozi. Kitegeeza Uganda oba government erina okwetegekera ekiseera ekyo. Bwe tukyetegekera tetugenda ku developinga. China yetegekera ekiseera ekyo. Singapore yatetegekera ndowooza mulaba gye bali. So nga ntandika mu public service tunayo ebyobulamu, ebyenjigiriza, amaanyi g'amasannyalaze, amazzi amayonjo. Tulinayo enguudo, tulinayo eggaali z'omukka, tulinayo ebisaawo by'ennyonyi. Tugamba tuliwa nga Uganda biseera bino. Mu Uganda tulinayo districts 82 ezitalina malwaliro. Ate nga tulina ne sub-counties tezina health center 3s. Bannange health center 3s watandikira obujjanjabi mu system ya health mu Uganda. Naye ebyalo oba sub-counties amagombolola 1,600 tegayina health center 3s. Kamba buliyo ka story tawaddeyo nga tugenda nga tuva Emityana tugenda Ekyankwanzi ku campaign ya president. Netusanga health center 3 nensalawo okukikozesa okweyamba. unfortunately yabadde abandoned temuli basawo n'abalwadde bali awo tebalina abakolako bwe nageze mu toilet okumanya zibadde abandoned nasanze ennumba Mr. President ennumba nezinnuma era ennaku ssatu mbadde siri campaign trail kubanga mbadde ngezaako okuwona naye ebyo bye twagala okukolako nti tewali health center 3 mu government ya His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu ejja kubeera abandoned. Nga tugenda maaso.
Okay.
Mwami Museveni alina emmotoka ezimutambuza lukaaga. Si mukaaga, si nkaaga, wabula lukaaga. Naye mu Uganda yonna tulina ambulances 178 bonna Uganda. Lwaki gavumenti eno teswalako? Bye twagala okukyusa. Nga tugendako mu bya enjigiriza ndi musanyufu nti nno nze
ennumba ya mulumye
era nasomerako mu ssomero lya UPE so mmanye ekiriyo ate nga bazadde bange bakolanga lesson plans nga nange ndaba kirabeka kyeva bazaala omuwala omugezi naye tugende mu maaso mu byenjigiriza omwana oba buli mwana mu Uganda bamuwa $2,000 buli mwaka $2,000 buli mwaka kisobola kukola kibanna Uganda $2,000 tekisobola kugula na kalaamu oba kugula peni mu mwaka oba mu ttaamu egi oyo omwana n'asobola okusoma mu gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi tugenda kwongeza funding mu UPE schools. Ekirala ekisinga obukulu bano abaana bagenda ku ssomero bambi ne bamala essaawa 8 nga tebalina kye balidde. Tetugenda kukkiriza ebyo mu gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi. Mu gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi buli mwana ajja kufuna emilwe at least emu buli lunaku basobole okonsentratinga mu kusoma kwabwe. Ekirala abasomesa beekalakaasa. Ekisooka tebamala kubanga bw'otunuulira staffing rate y'amasomero mu Uganda gali ku 34%. N'obutamala abasomesa era nze maama wange yasomesanga mu ssomero lya gavumenti naye ng'asomesa subjects 3. Lwaki omusomesa omu bamubadde ninga okusomesa subjects 3? Buli subject erina okubeera n'omusomesa. N'ekirala abasomesa tebabasasudde bulungi. Kyokala babeekalakaasa mu Uganda empya tewajja kubeerawo kwekalakaasa kuba abasomesa bajja kubeera ne ssente ezimala era tujja basasula bulungi. Bwe tugenda ku ky'amazzi baganda bange abasinga mulwala typhoid temumanyi bino ebintu gye biva kubanga bannayuganda abasinga tebalina mazzi mayonjo kyokka nga tulina agayanja ga Nalubaale tulina Kyoga byonna tubirina mu Uganda naye ensinga zi Saudi Arabia ezitalina nnyanja zirina amazzi amalungi ageyagaza naye wano mu Uganda tetugayina lwaki tubeera mu gavumenti bwetyo. Ne tugenda ku amasomero ebitundu 68 ku 100 tebirina mazzi. Amalwaliro ebitundu 44 ku 100 tebirina mazzi. Lwaki eddwaliro libeerawo nga terina mazzi? Bwe tugenda ku bya enguudo Dr. Shamimba agambye nti tulina network y'enguudo emitwalo 15 naye kwanje emitwalo 15 kilometers nkakaaga zokka zenkole ate nga NRM yakakolako kilometers 4,000. Imagine emyaka 4 kitegeeza buli mwaka bakola kilomita 10. Incompetence of this government tetugenda jikiriza mu government empya oba mu Uganda empya. Nga tugenda maaso nti railway abasinga ddala bazadde baffe basingako obukulu bazadde bamu batambuliranga mu gaali y'omukka naye kati nze emyaka gyange okulaba ku gaali y'omukka nina agenda kubweru wa Uganda tekigenda kubeera mu gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi. Ebyo byonna tugenda bikyusa mufune gaali y'omukka ng'osobola okubeera wano e Kampala yobeerayo omupiira mu Hoima City ng'olinnya high speed training ekutwala ddakiika 3 watuusedde walabye omupiira wakomyewo. Ye Uganda empya tetubasuubiza. Ekirala era ebiddiridde okusemba amasanyalaze n'amazzi. Amasanyalaze ga bbeeyi. Unity y'amasanyalaze ya $10. Ngenda mu saluuni okunnaaza bunaaza oluviiri omukyala wa saluuni n'angamba maama amasanyalaze ga bbeeyi nange nina okuggyako ssente nnyingi naye nga lwaki za ssente nnyingi nga lwaki gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi tejja unity y'amasanyalaze ku $10 n'ebiteeka ku $5. Ekidomola ky'amazzi tugenda kukijja ku nnusu 20 tukiteeke ku nnusu 10 bannayuganda mugenda kunyumya Uganda empya ate nga nokonekitinga amazzi n'amasanyalaze bigenda kubeeragenda bikolako. Ekisinga obukulu airport mukimanyi loopu waffe ng'akyakulira Kosase yavaayo n'abalaga nti mwezo waliyo abakyala bataasoma bye baweeja emirimu abataasoma bonna tugenda bagobayo kale baasoma omugigi naye biri ebitabo byetwogerako bonna bataasoma tugenda bagobayo tuteekeyo abantu abasobola okumanaginga air transport yaffe so that buli region wabeereyo airport nga munnayuganda asobola okubuuka n'avaano nga bwe kiri e Kenya ababaddeko e Kenya mukimanyi abantu bavuga okuva e Mombasa ne bagenda e Nairobi at a low cost bye betwagala mu Uganda empya bannayuganda nga mmaliriza mukimanyi tubyogeddeko sente za health zigenda kwongezebwa tugenda kwongeza funding mu government hospitals ate n'abaana baffe bajja kulyanga emmere y'obwerere buli lunaku neyanzisa nnyo people power our power.
Thank you so much, Dr. Judith. In conclusion, here is what the new Uganda promises. With the National Unity Platform, we are saying that our health centers are going to be increased. We are going to increase funding in the healthcare system to about 25% or even more, considering what was promised in the Abuja Declaration that said if the health system must improve, at least 16% of the national budget must be dedicated to the health system. We are going to recruit doctors 16 times more than what we have at present. And we are saying that every health center 3 must have a doctor. And we are going to triple other healthcare workers in the new Uganda. In the new Uganda, the funding for the education sector is going to be increased. We are saying, why should our teachers be struggling? Yet we have a lot of money. We have over 10 trillion that is stolen to corruption every year, but our teachers do not have enough salary. We are saying that connection to the national grid for electricity is going to be free of charge. Ladies and gentlemen, you do not have to buy electricity poles anymore. You do not have to pay for the wires to have electricity in your homes. We are going to remove value-added tax on electricity bills. We are going to make sure that businesses and domestic users of electricity, where SMEs fall, do not have to pay VAT. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to make sure that every village has 10 water sources, clean water sources, and all town councils and municipal councils must construct toilets that will be accessed for free, ladies and gentlemen. I feel so bad when I go to Kampala and I have to look for a toilet and I pay, yet it is even dirty, but they are going to be free of charge in the new Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a railway that connects all the 4 regions in Uganda. Why should it take you 8 hours, 12 hours to come from here to Yumbe, yet you can use a train and get there in 4 hours? Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to make sure that we have regional, international airports. These Entebbe airports that you see, we are going to put down and we lift very new, good-looking international airports. And there is no reason why you will have to come from Ntungamo to Entebbe to board a plane to Rwanda. You understand? That is what we are saying. We are saying that in the new Uganda, you will not have to struggle for anything. We shall make sure that whatever it is that you need as a public service is available to you. People power. Our power. Kunga Uganda kunga. Thank you so much.
From what you've heard, do you want more of the same or you want change? You already have a clear picture of what is going to be in the new Uganda. We are not just saying we are going to do these things, we have people who are going to do these things. I'm sure you're confident that these young ladies and doctors are capable of delivering what they have just promised. That said, before we welcome our alumni to perform the skit, we shall first have a surprise artist, Felista the Superstar. He's going to sing, perform for us. Thank you so much.
Felista the Superstar. Felista, 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 Felista.
Felista. yaffe atukula okutira ennyange ono mulira kubanga lulu tebamulya ngange ono muteekako ezange kubamuka lulu tebamulya tebanimba tebandyenga nebuuliita sente zattuula tebandimba nze tebanvumba omaze segomba enda abalala segomba naddala ffe bajenzi liida twegomba Bobi Banda musende okubeera waneeno badde nina shema sakanaye ngambe so agenda nga sirabye mukulembeze wange banaye mukulembeze wange nkwagala nnyo era nsaba luno olutabalolozeemu oluwangule bulungi kwagala nnyo taata eyanziza nnyo banaye omukulembeze yansuubiza haga mukirabye haga teyaŋŋamba akirese eyanziza nnyo Mr. President.
Webale nnyo Uganda empeera nja kweyagala nnyo. Thank you so much.
Okay.
For that, we are going to have one more presentation and then we'll have the skit. At this point, many of you have been asking, because in our manifesto we have told you we are going to get 10 million jobs. And many of you have been saying, how is that possible? I think most of you have gotten used to governments which don't create jobs. I'm going to welcome Honorable Mwanga Chibumbi to present on the issue of unemployment and how we are going to create jobs for you. Thank you so much.
People power, our power, NUP, President Kantwaleyo Okusosotola gwenjawulo okukulisaayo mu Greater Mubende ne Greater Luweero. Bane mumukuliseeyo kyabadde kyakabi yakikoze. One, let me start with a simple philosophy in managing an economy. It is akin to going to war. Because quite often, after all this struggle we are in to remove a dictator, and our president, after swearing in, he will be just occupying momentarily a certain hill stop. But it will also define how far the climb has been and how steep the next journey to end unemployment, to create a better life, to give our people better opportunities. It will just be a beginning of a major struggle. Now, like any other war, developing an economy entails taking over what we call commanding heights. Commanding heights of an economy starts with, I'll only mention two that are very relevant. A commanding height of an economy, the first one is an emergency of an enlightened elite class in a country. I'm using the word enlightened, not people who have gone to school. An enlightened elite class is aware they must live simple so that their people must simply live. They do every sacrifice. They have a command of duty, responsibility, commitment, sacrifice, patriotism, and courage to ensure they deliver a nation. The second commanding height is an emergency, a skilled, which they've talked about, of a skilled human resource, for which people have talked about health and education. Another commanding height is peace. When I talk about peace, I'm speaking about durable, predictable, peace that we take for granted. not an absence of war and gunshots. Once you have that peace and stability, then you have occupied another commanding heights. But in the role of that peace is the role of the military, for which most militaries in Africa fail African presidents. The military complex, other than waging war, is the gatherer of strategic information and direction of a country. They have a duty to unflinchingly speak to a president, no matter how difficult, to tell the president that what you are doing is not right, change direction, take a new course because of the future of our country. Now, our military, I think all they do is to consolidate and the presidency. Another commanding height, of course, is finance and banking, which I leave. But my role was to demonstrate to you that you can create 10 million new jobs. I think that is an understatement. In Tanzania here, they have demonstrated, starting with the Magufuli, that in 5 years you can transform a country. The young man, the general, in the friend of the president, who has demonstrated that in 3 years just you can transform a country. We are sure with the National Unity Platform, with the discipline of the National Unity Platform, it will take us 2 to 3 years to put Uganda right and begin a new course, not just to give you peace and stability, to give this country a heritage of an ever-improving destiny. I'm speaking about a heritage. Chavsika. Countries change forever. Good leaders don't change countries momentarily during their regime. They give them a basis of an ever better life for their citizens. And it is possible, starting with Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu and the National Unity Platform. Will it be reinventing the wheel? No. Nations start from somewhere. America was given an opportunity by one man called George Washington. So was India. China was given an opportunity by Chairman Mao and others. Singapore by Lee Kuan Yew. And so many other countries. So I have no doubt, and I've worked with our president closely. I have no doubt he will deliver Uganda to the promised land. So be out there, and all you have to do is to go out 4 months from now, 2 months and vote. Now, this is what we are going to do to create jobs. One, we are going to leverage tourism. Tourism has the potential to create new jobs in Uganda. And let me speak about tourism. Tourism today does not mean the presence of crocodile and lions. For you to have a tourist destination, you must improve all the things the Salims have talked about: infrastructure, have peace, have better roads, have communication, have better hotels. Once you do that, tourists will simply come, even without branding. So you don't need to. There must be roads without tanks and tear gas. There must be respect for human rights. Every time you put Edimutwe in a basement, you are discouraging 1,000 and hundreds of thousands tourists. No one wants to come to a country where people are put in a basement. It can't. Every time you see jam on Kampala Road, you are discouraging tourists. So, today people go to Dubai. Are there dinosaurs in Dubai? No. Are there lions in Dubai? Are there valleys in Dubai? No. Are there rivers in Dubai? No. It's because they have done a first-class infrastructure. That's what our government will do. The second thing we shall do to leverage is to create an industrial sector that can create jobs. An industrial sector that can create jobs will be the one that has a backward and forward linkage. Backward linkage is an industrial base that will be built on our comparative advantage, which is agriculture. And when you build an industry on agriculture, two, we are now getting a new comparative advantage. We are one of the richest nations in mineral potential in the world. From oil to uranium to gold to tea to everything you need in Uganda we have. How very fast shall actually, the thinking in the other sector of the economy is, if we had developed our industrial sector, our mineral sector faster, we would never have needed to borrow to develop the oil sector. Therefore, we are going to fast track a huge industrial complex based on our mineral resources, on our agricultural resources, on our fish industry, on everything we have, and create hundreds and millions of jobs for our people. We are also going to do where our president comes from. He has been speaking about the 4 A's. Okay, the arts, the academics, so we are going to do a sports and arts industry that will deliver Uganda. We can tell you today, a 1 billionaire that has joined the billionaire rank this week by Forbes magazine is not an industrialist. He's a one man called Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a footballer. How many Cristiano Ronaldos can we have in Uganda? Many. You see a young man like Alan Okello. Had he been given opportunities years back, that one would be a billionaire in the making. We have artists that are doing so well. We've just seen a young girl here performing, so perfect. In another world, this younger girl instantly will be a millionaire in terms of millions of what? Dollars. They'll not be performing in Irikari.
Okay.
No. And there you need a right law, corporate law. You need a law that protects artists. You need a law that ensures that they earn from their talent. And that law, Mr. President, in the next 200 days of our parliament, we will put that law in place. So once you do those best things, then other things simply fall in. So our promise for a new Uganda is a Uganda that will ensure you have a heritage of prosperity, not for now, not for our children, it will be for infinity and beyond. And with those few words, I thank you.
Thank you.
I'm requested to transform, to translate what I've talked about in Uganda briefly. Ensi yonna National Unity Platform bw'emala okuwangula egenda ku lutabaalo olwokubiri. Olutabaalo olwokubiri lwe lw'okukyusa obulamu bw'abannansi. Okubajja mu mbeera embi gye mukooye tugende mu mbeera ki ey'okwesiima. Tetubagamba tulwanirira mu nsi muno mubeere baavu. No, ekitulwanyisa bannayuganda mubeere baki bagagga nga muli mu bulamu obukola ki obwesiimisa nga temusula na swegi. Wano mu Uganda abantu basula n'ebinyonyi. Wano mu Uganda abantu basula n'ente. Abantu mu Uganda basula wamu n'embuzi nga temuli mu nnyumba za nsiisira. Ng'obudde bwe buziba tekitegeeza kizikiza, kitegeeza ekitangaala obukulembeze obulungi obulala bwe bukikuwadde. Ng'abantu abagala okuba obulungi muli buki bulungi. N'olwekyo olutalo lwe tuliko lwakuba buki bulungi kubanga tukooye embeera ki embi. Ebyo okubifuna wano wammanga tulina obikola. One, wateekwa okuvaayo abakulembeze abaagala eggwanga lyabwe nga ddala ddala mweyo gya ggwanga. Ekyo kitegeeza si bakulembeze bannabyabufuzi bokka, nammwe mwenna bagayi olikaawo oli simanyi oli community development officer, oli nurse, oli headmaster, working a permanent secretary in our government, a corrupt one, pack your bags nga tetunasimbula. Olumala okulayira bwotyo oli anti oli mujini y'obuli corrupt, please just run away. Kyagulanyi atuuse, kiboko ya uchafu.